Welcome to Mini Mind Hack. Modern life puts almost all of us into dopamine debt, a state where we crave more stimulation but feel less alive. In this episode, I'll explain what that phrase means, how the brain's reward system actually works, why our phones and apps accelerate the problem, and practical, science-friendly steps you can use to reset your attention and feel normal pleasure again. Dopamine is often described badly. It is not simply the pleasure chemical. In neuroscience, dopamine is best understood as a signal of expectation, the engine of anticipation that pushes you toward things you think will be rewarding. That distinction, wanting versus liking, was clarified by Kent Berridge, an American neuroscientist at the University of Michigan. Berridge's work shows that dopamine mainly powers wanting, the drive to pursue a reward, while the actual feeling of enjoyment is a different process. Another key insight from basic neuroscience comes from Wolfram Schultz, a neurophysiologist at the University of Cambridge, who studied how dopamine neurons respond to prediction errors, the gap between what you expect and what actually happens. When something better than expected occurs, dopamine fires more strongly. When outcomes are worse than expected, dopamine dips. That coding of prediction and surprise is how the brain learns which actions are worth repeating. Now translate that biology into the apps and interfaces on your screen. Tristan Harris, a former Google design ethicist and co-founder of the Center for Humane Technology, has spent years pointing out how modern products are deliberately engineered to capture attention. Designers use variable, unpredictable rewards. A new like, a surprising recommendation, an endless refresh. The same reinforcement schedule that keeps gamblers at slot machines. It's not a mistake. It's a business model that turns attention into revenue. When your environment supplies rapid, frequent, unpredictable rewards, two things happen inside the brain. First, the reward system adapts. It becomes less sensitive to the same level of stimulation. Second, your baseline expectation of stimulation rises. What used to be satisfying no longer registers. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman, a psychologist known for his work on judgment and decision-making, documented how humans adapt to changes in experience and expectation. In practice, that means the short, fast hits of dopamine push your baseline up and leave ordinary life feeling muted. You can see the consequences in everyday behavior. Tasks that used to feel energizing become hard to start. Conversations may feel shallow. Meals and walks lose texture. Sleep suffers. This pattern is not a moral failing. It's a predictable reaction to an environment that constantly supplies quick rewards. Clinicians who study addiction and compulsive behaviors frame recovery around recalibration. Psychiatrist Anna Lembke at Stanford University School of Medicine, author of the accessible book Dopamine Nation, highlights how overconsumption of fast rewards, whether substances or behaviors, tilts the balance away from slow pleasures. Her clinical perspective is useful. Recovery often starts with reducing immediate triggers and rebuilding sensitivity through structure. You don't have to quit technology. What the science suggests is a two-part strategy. Give the brain space from constant stimulation and replace noisy micro-rewards with slower, deeper rewards that restore meaningful satisfaction. Computer scientist Cal Newport, who teaches at Georgetown University and wrote Deep Work and Digital Minimalism, offers practical tactics for creating that space. Blocks of focused time and deliberate limits on distraction. Here are clear steps you can apply and why each one works. First, perform a notification audit. Go through your phone and silence everything that is not essential. Keep emergency and work-critical alerts, but turn off the rest. Each notification is a micro-reward trigger. Reducing them lowers the number of automatic dopamine spikes you experience in a day. Second, create low-stimulation windows. These are short, intentional periods, 10 to 30 minutes to begin with, when you avoid fast digital rewards. No social apps, no news refreshes, no aimless browsing. These windows allow reward circuits to rest and decrease reactivity. Think of them as small recovery sessions for your attention. Third, increase friction for tempting apps. Move social apps off your home screen, log out between sessions, or use the web version instead of the app. When the path to a reward includes an extra step, you are less likely to engage reflexively. That one extra click is surprisingly effective. Fourth, practice single-task focus. Schedule 25 to 50-minute blocks where you work or read without switching. Cal Newport's research on focused work shows that extended, uninterrupted attention not only improves performance, but also retrains your brain to value slower rewards. Over time, those blocks rebuild the ability to concentrate and to feel satisfaction from sustained effort. Fifth, replace quick hits with slow pleasures. Swap a 5-minute scroll session for a 30-minute walk, cooking a meal, reading a chapter of a book, or listening to a full song without skipping. Slow pleasures take longer to produce reward, but they deliver richer, longer-lasting satisfaction, the kind that recalibrates baseline enjoyment. Sixth, cultivate micro-wins. Break larger tasks into tiny, finishable actions. Open a document, write a single paragraph, clear 3 items from a to-do list. Each small completion produces a predictable sense of progress and helps re-establish a healthy reward gradient in the brain, consistent signals that your actions lead to outcomes. Seventh, use environment design. Charge your phone outside the bedroom, create phone-free zones, and keep the device in another room while you work. The fewer immediate temptations, the easier it is to practice spacing and to choose slower, more deliberate activities. Eighth, prioritize sleep and exercise. Sleep deprivation increases impulsivity and reduces executive control. Regular aerobic exercise stabilizes mood and supports healthy dopamine function. These are not glamorous, but they have measurable effects on how responsive your reward system is. Expect discomfort when you begin. Reducing frequent stimulation often produces temporary irritability, boredom, or FOMO, the feeling of missing out. Clinicians report that the first few days can be the hardest. That is normal and expected. The brain is adjusting to fewer quick rewards. After several days, you may notice small pleasures returning. Over 2 to 6 weeks with consistent practice, many people report substantial improvement in focus, enjoyment, and motivation. You can track progress in simple, practical ways. Note how many times you open a particular app per day. Check total screen time. More importantly, add a brief daily log. Rate a meal, a walk, or a conversation on a scale from 1 to 5 for how much you enjoyed it. Those small data points show trends over time and make improvement visible. This is not only an individual problem, there is a social and policy dimension. Designers and companies shape the environment, and the attention economy creates incentives to maximize engagement. Groups such as the Center for Humane Technology, led by people like Tristan Harris, advocate for design ethics that reduce exploitative patterns. Public debate and regulation can help, but individual action remains a practical first step. A concrete 4-week plan you can try looks like this. In week 1, do a notification audit and create 2 daily low-stimulation windows of 15 minutes each. In week 2, add 1 45-minute single-task session and move social apps off your home screen. In week 3, extend your low-stimulation windows and introduce 1 daily slow pleasure, such as a 30-minute walk or reading time. In week 4, add a weekly review. Look at your app opens, your mood log, and adjust what's working. Small, consistent changes are more effective than dramatic one-off attempts. Before we finish, it's worth returning to why naming this problem matters. Calling it dopamine debt gives you a model, a cause, a mechanism, and a repair strategy. It shifts the conversation from blame to agency. You are not lazy or weak. You live in an environment engineered to reward constant engagement. Knowing the mechanism lets you design your life differently. If you try one thing this week, make it the notification audit. Turn off everything non-essential and notice how often your phone stops demanding you. If you try 2 things, add a single 30-minute single-task session. These small, repeatable habits compound. Thank you for watching. If this episode helped you understand why normal things feel dull and how to get them back, leave a comment with the one change you'll try this week. Hit like if this was useful and subscribe for more mini mind hack episodes. I appreciate you being here. See you next time.